It's time for another sports broadcast on News Channel Nebraska, but before we head to the action, I'm Chris Whitney with your Sports Insider, brought to you by Faith Regional Health Services. Today we are joined by Russ Baumert, physical therapist with Faith Regional Rehabilitation Therapies. Russ, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's talk about injuries that are, common that maybe take you out of the action for a little bit. It's common in the return to sports timelines. They can vary, of course, according to severity. Can you give us some general guidelines to follow?
You bet. When we're talking about return to sports, first thing we want to address is the acute inflammation stage. To be able to participate in sports, your pain and swelling need to be down to a minimum. Following that, we immediately want to go into regaining range of motion. If you do not have full range of motion in a joint, the odds of you being able to participate fully in a sport are going to be down.
So once the pain and the swelling have subsided and the range of motion has returned, what's next?
Then we want to work on strength symmetry. We want to get that affected body part equal or near equal the strength of the unaffected side. Following that, we do progressive activity tolerance, starting at 50%, 75% activity tolerance. And then we want to go into our sports specifics. If you're a thrower, we need to have you throw. If you're a jumper, if you're playing basketball, we need to be cutting, we need to be jumping. We need to test out the integrity of the injury by doing sport-specific exercises. After that, we want to make sure that we have good cardiovascular fitness has been maintained, as well as confidence, doing some mental confidence, building it up, making sure that when you get back on the court, you are ready physically and mentally to go back out there and go give it your all.
Now, if an athlete is struggling to return after an injury, what are some of the easy things that they can and should do?
Well, they should consult a sports medicine specialist like their doctor, a physical therapist, or an athletic trainer to help get them on the right track to help the process go along smoother.
Absolutely. And of course, if anybody has any questions, they can contact you or anybody else at Faith Regional, right?
You bet.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Russ Baumert with Faith Regional Rehabilitation Therapies, joining us today. This has been another edition of News Channel Nebraska's Sports Insider, brought to you by Faith Regional Health Services. At NCN, I'm Chris Whitney.